once again, welcome. Thank you for being here with us tonight. My name is Lavinia and I'm part of the Docsity team. And here with us today on behalf of Linnaeus University, we have Henrikh Hidland. He's the communication officer working with the international student recruitment. Hello, Henrikh.
Hi, nice to meet all of you, and thank you for having me today. Looking forward to this presentation.
Thank you for being with us today, and hello, Zineb from Spain. Hello, everyone, and all the participants who are still connecting. Here with us today, we also have Solveig. She's the student ambassador and also a master's student in business process control and supply chain management from Germany.
Yeah, hi.
Hello, Solveig, and thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for taking the time to offer your perspective and insight into the study experience as an international student in Sweden. So I think we are good to start. Once again, welcome everyone to this webinar in partnership with Linnaeus University. For those of you who have questions, and I see that someone already raised their hands, don't worry, after the presentation, we have a Q&A session, and you'll get to ask all your questions about the undergraduate and postgraduate programs at Linnaeus, as well as the student life. So if you have any specific question for Solveig in particular, don't be shy. We are going to answer all your questions after the presentation. So once again, welcome, and thank you for being here with us today. Henrikh, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Lavinia. I'm very happy to be here today, and also happy to have Solveig with me. As you can see from the picture, it's where we're sitting in the campus in Kalmar, where I'm sitting, and Solveig is sitting in the other campus we have in Växjö. And today, we are from the Linnaeus University, which is, we have the motto, a modern international university in the Småland region of Sweden. And I will talk more about the university in a minute, but first I'd like to introduce the two of us who is going to speak today. My name is Henrikh Hidland, and I'm working as a communications officer in the international student recruitment team. I've been working in the university for 10 years already, starting to grow old here in this chair. But been working with a few different things, mainly with the international students in different ways. And with me today, I have Solveig. Do you want to do a short presentation of yourself, Solveig?
Sure, yes, I can do that. So yeah, hi guys, my name is Solveig. I'm finishing up my master program in business process control and supply chain management right now. We're finishing up, I'm meaning that I have my defense of my master thesis tomorrow morning, and then my graduation ceremony on Friday. So if you have any questions about, especially, well, my master program or master programs in general, or the life here, you're more than welcome to ask me, and I'll try to answer all your questions.
Yeah, and you're studying the program Business Process Control and Supply Chain Management. Yeah. So what will we talk about today then? First, we'll talk a little bit about Sweden. I don't know if all of you know that much about Sweden. If you don't worry, you will learn everything that is needed to know about the country after this presentation. And then we'll talk about the university and go on a little bit about how it is to study in Sweden and how it is to work in Sweden as well. We'll talk about with the students' perspective, and then we have a Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the Q&A or in the chat. So Sweden then, well, many people don't know so much about Sweden, and it's not that strange actually, because we are a quite small city, small country. We only have around 10 million people living in the country, but still, it's a quite big country. If you look at the square kilometers, it's the fourth biggest country in Europe. So even if the population is small, it's a lot of nature and a lot of places to go and enjoy watching trees and forests and lakes and other beautiful nature sites. Our capital is called Stockholm, and it's a city of around 1.5 million people. There we have our king and queen living, because Sweden is a monarchy, but actually the yeah, the monarchs don't have any power really. It's the parliament that is democratically selected that has all the power. And in Sweden, English level is quite high. Basically, if you look at all the countries that doesn't have English as their mother tongue, because Sweden has Swedish as their mother tongue, Sweden usually rank as number 1 or number 2 in the level of English proficiency in the world. So yeah, Sweden is quite good and easy to get around with. And when you go to the university and study in the university, everything is done in English. So it's no need to be able to speak Swedish, even if it's a big advantage, especially when you're looking for a job afterwards. But yeah, for your studies, no need to be able to speak Swedish. And even in a small city like Kalmar and Växjö, where we're located, basically everyone can speak English as well. So it's not only in the big cities where you can meet people who speak English. Everyone, even if you go out to the really countryside and yeah, just think that there's no people here. If you run into someone, yeah, it's a big chance that that poor guy also can speak something to you. A little bit about Swedish culture then. Swedes are usually very friendly and helpful, but it's hard to know by the first glimpse, because when you meet a Swedish person, we will be quite reserved in the beginning and it's hard to befriend them. But after you befriend them, you're usually like friends for life. So yeah, it's good people, but hard to get to know. One way to get to know them is by fika, which is a very important word in Swedish. And it basically means coffee with something like a coffee break. We say fika usually with like something to it, like a snack of some kind. And it's needed to have a few times per day. Coffee is what makes us it makes us tick in Sweden. Basically, everybody needs their coffee, and we need it a lot. So fika is the most important thing that you need to know when of the Swedish words. Sweden also has quite a lot of famous people. We have, for example, Greta Thunberg, and then we have a lot of music and artists. I just read an article today that Sweden is one of the biggest music exporters this year as well. And it's not only Avicii, Swedish House Mafia, Lucky Lee, Robin, Max Martin, etc., who is putting us there, but there is a lot of famous songs written by Swedish artists. So Sweden is actually per capita the biggest music exporter in the world. And we also are famous, for example, Zlatan and other famous sports stars. Sweden is ranked number 5 in the world in terms of innovation, safety, democracy, human rights, sustainability, gender equality, and yeah, some other things as well. So Sweden is in many terms, and how you look at it, usually top 5 in many good parameters. And we have a lot of famous companies coming from Sweden, for example, IKEA, H&M, Ericsson, Volvo, Spotify, etc. It's quite a lot of innovation coming from the country. I said a little bit like Sweden is a big country, and yeah, that's really true. It's very long as well. From the north to the south, it's 1,572 kilometers, and that makes the climate is quite different. In the north, it's usually quite cold, it's dark, and it's snowy. And if you have a picture of polar bears walking the streets and like dark 5 months a year, that's a picture of the north of Sweden, even if that's not really true as well, but it's more correct there. In the south, we're more like rest of Europe when it comes to weather and climate. And our university is luckily located in the south, where also most of the population lives. Over 90% of the population lives in the south part of the country. So yeah, when the weather is the best, there's also where most people live. But the country is covered by 63% of forests, and 9% are lakes and rivers. So there's a lot of nature, as I said. Everywhere you go, you'll see nature and beautiful views, and yeah. And it's only 23.5 people per square kilometer, so it's hard to see people around. Not that many big cities. We have Stockholm, Gothenburg, Malmö, 3 cities that is kind of big, but except for that, there's only like what in other countries would say small cities in the whole country. And yeah, Sweden has 4 very distinguished seasons with quite cold weather in the winter, -10, -15, but it's not many days. Usually in the winter we have around -5. It's 0 to -5, very cold day, -10 is quite normal. And then in the summer we are usually around 20 to 25, and a few days it can go over 25, but the summer is usually very nice. And yeah, the weather doesn't get that hot. If you'd like to know more about the country, you should check out sweden.se. That is a very good website where you can learn anything about Sweden as a country, how it is to live there, Swedish culture, know more about like Swedish companies, etc. You can learn a lot on that website. So sweden.se is a great website to check out and learn more about us. If we then leave the country and go down a little bit to how it is to study in Sweden. Yeah, in Sweden we have an academic study system according to the Bologna system, so it's quite similar, because I know that most of you are from Europe today, so it's very similar to the rest of Europe. We have 3-year bachelor's program, master program usually 2 years, but also a few 1-year master programs. And I think that the study style in Sweden is a little bit more informal. You go like the teachers go by their first name. There is no calling them professor or anything like that, and it's quite easy to talk and have a discussion between a student and a teacher. There's not of those kind of big hierarchies. Another thing that is quite unique for Sweden is the 1 course at a time system, that you study 1 course for a certain amount of weeks, and then after that you finish it, have your final exam, and then you go on to do the next course, instead of having all of the courses at one time and they taking a midterm and the final. You have 1 course at a time instead. And this study style makes it quite more flexible. You will have a different schedule every day, and it will be a bigger focus on like group works and study with more focused studying groups, instead of just sitting in the classroom and listening, that it can usually be if you have the more traditional all courses at one time. And I would like to check with Solveig here. Maybe you, since you've been studying in a few different countries, would you say that this is correct, or is there other things that is the difference between studying in Sweden and other European countries?
Well, I would say the biggest difference would be that it is a lot more informal, as you mentioned it, and you do have a closer contact to your professors. And especially when I heard other students coming in, they were a little bit surprised by it. So I did my bachelor's in Denmark, so I was kind of used to the system of calling your teachers by your first name. But for especially people coming from other countries, they were like, isn't the name of the person Mr. So-and-so? And I would be, no, this is so-and-so. And it would just go by their first name, and it takes some time to get used to. But I think it actually helps to, if you have questions or so, then you don't have the barrier in that sense of like, okay, can I now actually ask it? It's, a lot more informal. And by having just 1 course at the time, you can focus on it a lot more. So it's a lot easier to find the niche within the course that you especially like. So we had a lot of projects that were where we had to do research about a part of the course. And when you just have 1 course at a time, it's easier to find your niche, what you like, especially in that course, and then focus on it. And then, you decide how you structure your day. So I would say that it's one of the biggest differences for studying in Sweden is that you have the more flexible and one course at a time setup, which is, I think, pretty nice, but it also takes some time until you get used to it.
Yeah. It's I guess that it's kind of a culture shock to come into the system, even though you had like an ease into it since you started in Denmark, which is also quite similar in many ways. Yeah, and if you'd like to know more about studying in Sweden and how, yeah, basically anything, how it is to live here as a student, moving to Sweden, all the programs that you can find and study no matter which university you want to study in Sweden, then this website is for you, studyinSweden.se. There you find everything. It's a very good and nice, easy structured website where you can find, yeah, the information you need. So if we go down to the university then, Linnaeus University, we are a university of around 44,000 students. But in Sweden, since many students are studying part-time, we have this idea of lifelong learning. So many people, after they start working, they still do some courses, so they do distant learning. So many of these students are part-time or distant learning. So if we look at the full-time students at campus, it's around 15,000. And that makes us still the sixth largest university in Sweden in terms of students. Also, Sweden is, or Linnaeus University is usually called the youngest university in Sweden because it was established in 2010. But that was because in 2010, two universities merged together. And those two universities was Växjö University, and that one was started in 1967. At that time, it was actually a part of Lund University. So it started as Lund University Växjö campus, grew too big and become its own university. And then in 2010, it merged with this university called University of Kalmar that was founded in 1977, originally as a maritime college. And then it also grew and became, a comprehensive university with all different kinds of programs. And in 2010, we merged these two and we took on the new name, Linnaeus. And this photo is from our Kalmar campus because these two cities is located around 1 hour between each other, and we still kept the two campuses in the two cities. So when you go to Linnaeus University to study, you better check your program, which of the two campuses that you're going to be in. We have around 50 programs offered in English. And except for the 50 programs, we also offer a lot of single subject courses. As I said, in Sweden, we have this tradition of studying courses even after you start working to learn something new. So around 500 courses is offered in English as well. It's both from bachelor and master levels, of course. If we look at the programs, there is 9 programs on the bachelor level, and then over 40, close to 45 programs offered in master level. I'll go in a little bit more on what kind of programs we have in a minute. According to Times Higher Education ranking in 2010, when we look at quality education, Linnaeus University was ranked top 100 out of the universities in that ranking. And if we look at the Shanghai ranking, Linnaeus University is listed among top 800 to 900 out of 18,000 universities in the world. In which majors do we have programs then? Well, on bachelor, we have a few in business and economics. We have 2 in design. We have in computer science and mathematics. And we have a lot in masters. It's too much to go into all of them, but basically we are a comprehensive university. So no matter what you're interested in studying, you will probably find a program suitable for you. I will not go into all of them, but here you can see a list of the programs we have in, for example, in business, you can see that we have quite a lot of different master programs. And Linnaeus University's School of Business and Economics is actually one of the biggest business schools in Sweden. So we offer a lot of master programs taught in English. In computer science, we are quite famous, especially for our bachelor programs, that is ranked among the best in Sweden. Both network security and software technology is among the best IT programs that you can study in Sweden. And on the master level, we also have a few very good programs in computer science. Design and humanities, there is a lot of different options as well, especially on the master level, where you can go from anything from social science courses such as colonial and post-colonial studies to English language and literature, or maybe design or anything else. We have a lot of natural sciences, especially on master level, where we have chemistry, biology and aquatic ecology. We have mathematics with a lot of different specializations, physics, etc. And quite a lot in social science and behavioral science as well, including psychology and more of like international affairs. And in engineering, there is a lot of master programs. So no matter what kind of engineering student you are, it's probably a master program suitable for you as well. Linnaeus University, and not only the universities, but the whole area where we are located here, is famous for its entrepreneurs and its innovation. So the university also tries to incorporate that and try to be very innovative in as many ways as possible. And we try to push that down to the students as well and make them becoming more innovative. So yeah, we try to develop close collaborations with the companies. And IKEA is one of the companies that we work quite closely with, because IKEA was founded just 40 minutes from the university campus, and they still have their headquarters very close to where the university is located. So together with IKEA and another huge Swedish company called Södra, we have this collaboration called The Bridge, where we focus on a few different things. There is, for example, a research foundation where these two companies goes in with a lot of money to fund a research that could be needed. And this research foundation has actually got so much support from the companies that it has grown to become the biggest research foundation in Sweden, surpassing the Nobel Prize Foundation to be the foundation with most money for research in Sweden. And also we have a master program in innovation, where we call it Innovation for Business, Engineering and Design, where these two companies are highly involved. And we take in students from all the three disciplines. So it can be business students, it can be engineering students, and then it's mainly mechanical engineering, and we can take in design students, and then they work together to create something new and very innovative. And it's in collaboration with local companies, and mainly IKEA is one of the big players in this program. We are also very international. Every year we have over 2,000 international students coming in. I don't know, Sova, you've been a little bit unlucky because it's been a pandemic when you've been here, but have you met international students from a lot of countries?
Yeah, I actually met, so I would say that there were not that many incoming at the same time as me, because at that point there were a lot of travel restrictions. So I moved in August 2020. But there were still a lot of international students on campus and from a lot of different nations. So they were then, of course, from like a year or 2 years before, so not that many coming. But now there are a lot of international students coming, and especially now for the autumn semester, I already heard that there will be a lot of international students coming as well. So there are definitely a lot of internationals on campus, but also a lot of Swedes. So you will meet a lot of international and local people when you come. So don't have to be scared about that. You will meet a lot of people.
Yeah, the Swedes you will meet for sure. They will be there no matter what. And as you said, this autumn intake in 2022, we can already see that the international students are back. And before the pandemic, we had like 2,000 to 2,200 every year coming in, and I think we will surpass that this year. It will be more than 2,200 international students coming in. Yeah, so here is a map of the world, and everything that is yellow is actually where we have international collaboration, and that means that when you're studying a program that is more than 1 year, there will be a chance for you to go abroad and study abroad. So not only that there's international students coming in, there's also chances to go abroad, and there is collaborations with universities all over the world. So no matter where you want to go and study, there could be a chance to go for exchange studies. And we have totally 780 partner universities in more than 80 countries. Linnaeus University is also focusing on sustainability. So many of our programs have a sustainability focus in one way or another. And especially our engineering programs is now turning a little bit towards sustainability focus in the engineering field. And that has made us in the Times Higher Education Impact Ranking top 100 in climate action and sustainability CITES. Also one of our campuses, Växjö campus, where Solveig is sitting, that city has been awarded the greenest city in Europe, among others by BBC. So it's very clean and a nice city to live in. The air is very fresh. Not only because it's always raining, but also because of the good nature and the sustainability focus on the city. The location of the two universities and our two campuses is in the southeast part of Sweden. So you can see here on the map, Kalmar and Växjö is located. Kalmar is located by the Baltic Sea, and Växjö is located around 1 hour's drive from the Baltic Sea, but on the other hand, much closer to big cities such as Copenhagen and Gothenburg. So from Växjö it takes a little bit over 2 hours to get to Copenhagen, a little bit over 2 hours to get to Gothenburg. So good location if you like to go to big cities for weekend trips. When you come here as a student and have a student visa, you are allowed to work as well. I would like to ask Solveig again, did you work anything during your years here?
Well, I worked as a student ambassador, so I worked with the team that is handling the Instagram account, and then taking part in the webinars. So I would say I did a little bit of working, but I was more focusing on putting more energy towards my master education, and then also the projects that we had with companies. So I was lucky that in my program we had a lot of collaboration with companies. So we had a lot of different projects where companies would come in, or we would look for companies to work with them. So in that sense, I would say that my only job next to my studies was the student ambassador. But we had kind of like trainee programs running at the same time with companies.
What kind of companies was it that you were working with?
We had one project that was together with Södra, then one with Scania. We had one that we arranged ourselves with BMW. So that was one of the projects where we had to find a company ourselves, and Södra and Scania was organized by the university. And then we also had some case studies where we would get certain roles assigned on an online software, and would kind of have project management roles and procurement and so on. So it kind of depends on your program, but at least for my program, there was a lot of software available for like simulating certain situations, or companies actually coming in and presenting their cases, and then us working together with them.
So there is chances to work, and it's also chances to focus on the studies as well. And it's good to have this combination. And even no matter if you choose to work during your student years or not, when you want to, like after you graduated, and if you want to try to stay and find a job in Sweden, for all graduates, they will get a 1-year visa to stay and search for an employment if they want to. Yeah, and as Solveig already said, there is a lot of internship opportunities or opportunities to work with companies in different ways during your studies. So yeah, we try to make sure that you have a chance to get half a step into the job market during your studies as well. Yes, so I would like to check a little bit more with Solveig now, and yeah, just ask basically. You're sitting here today, but could you tell me a little bit more about your story? How did it start? Why did you choose Sweden? And what are you going to do now after graduating?
Yeah, sure. So, well, I did my final high school diploma in Flensburg. So that's the border town between Germany and Denmark on the German side. And then I went to Denmark for my bachelor's in civil engineering with a focus on supply chain management. And I found out that I really liked the supply chain management area. So then I was like, okay, I want to do a master now. What kind of options do I have where I still have also kind of like a practical aspect, so not just a theoretical part, but also some companies visiting and so on. And then I started my research where I could go, and kind of quickly found out, well, I can also go more to the north, going to Sweden then. And then I found the master program that I'm now about to graduate from, which still feels a little bit strange to say, but yes. So that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years now. And then after my master's, I'm actually gonna stay in Sweden now, gonna move even more up to Stockholm, and gonna start working there. So I'm gonna stay in Sweden for who knows how long, but at least for some more years. That will be the story in really short, but if you guys have any questions for me, then feel free to ask. But yeah, that will be the really short version.
Yeah, that was a very short version of a half a life. It's interesting how you're slowly moving more and more north, and congratulations to now moving up to Stockholm. I wonder what the next step will be. It's not so many cities left to go to if you continue up.
No, not that many are left.
Yeah, but one thing I'm curious about is, how did you get to know about this company that you got employed by before you graduated, actually, because you still have a few more hours until you graduate?
Yeah, I have still a few more hours, and I actually signed my contract in February. So it's been now some time to let it sink in and everything, and kind of be a little bit more relaxed now in the sense of finishing the thesis and getting it all ready. But in Sweden, it's not that uncommon that you kind of start with the application for jobs quite early. So in my case, I applied over Christmas in my Christmas break for the job that I'm now going to take. And I had then my assessment day in January it was, then had an interview after. And then I think it was a total of like 7 or 8 screening stages, which I heard now is not that uncommon in consultancy, but it's still, at the time, it felt a little bit overwhelming. So it's kind of like you have to start early, but at least then you also know early. So it's kind of relief to know now that, well, I have my contract signed, I have my apartment and everything, and now I just need to go tomorrow there, defend my thesis, and then I have it.
Yeah, big congratulations to finding a job so smoothly, hopefully the final days of the school will go good as well. So if anyone has any more questions from Solveig and how it is to study in Sweden or finding a job in Sweden as an international student, please write it in the chat and we will take it at the end of the presentation. I will also talk a little bit about PhD studies as well. So basically, PhD studies in Sweden is like an employment, which means that there is not a specific time when you apply. You just have to go in and look for it, just like you look for other jobs. And when a professor has the funding to do some specific research, or where he needs PhD students, then there will be positions available for PhD students. So if you're interested in going to Sweden to study a PhD, or going to Linnaeus University to study a PhD, check out lnu.se /en/jobs, or just go to lnu.se and search for jobs. It's also a good way to find the site. Yes, so why choose Linnaeus University then? A few reasons is that it's a high-praised university, and especially the environment is very nice. When we last time joined the International Student Barometer in 2014, Linnaeus University was ranked as #1 in the world in terms of campus building, and we were ranked #2 in terms of nice place to be by the international students studying in the university. And that was with our old campus. We've actually built a better and nicer campus in Kalmar now. So I still think that the facilities is still very nice and very good. So it's very nice facilities to stay in. The informal teaching style we already talked about, and that's actually something that's quite popular, and we've seen in many surveys that the international students and the Swedish students liked it a lot. There's also a good quality of life. As we said, Växjö was declared the greenest city in Europe. In Kalmar is a very beautiful, charming old city located by the Baltic Sea. And as you can see, the campus is also located as close to the sea as you can come. You can basically take a swim during your coffee break and then go back to class. Yeah, creativity, innovation, sustainability, equality, and diversity are very strong Swedish values, and also values in Linnaeus University that we try to have as impact on our education. Well, if you apply, there is this website called universityadmissions.se where you can apply, and it stands that the application deadline is 17th of January, and that is for the first round of application. Actually, after that, we're still open for late application. This year, most of the programs is closed by now, because when the programs we have, like the first round is closing in January, and then we have a second round where all the programs that is still not full or still want to have more students applying, they open up for a second round, and it will be open until the programs is full. And right now, all the programs is basically full for the autumn intake, but for next year, we're open and it's possible to apply again. And there is still, especially in natural sciences and some of the engineering programs are still open if you still would like to apply for this year. So you just go to universityadmissions.se. It's a one-stop shop for all Swedish universities. So there you can apply to all Swedish universities at one time. And I know that most of you listening today are European students. And if you have a European Union passport, that means that there is no application fee and there is no tuition fee. So you study for free. Yeah. And if you'd like to, just know more about us, follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And if you have some more questions, you can email any of these emails here. For example, study@lnu.se for the general information. Or if you want to chat with our students, you can go to lnu.se/en/chat, or just go to lnu.se and then search for chat, and you will be able to chat with students. For example, Solveig, who is one of the students that you can chat to. Yeah, so I think that was all from us. We're hoping that there is some questions to answer as well.
Yes, we do have quite a lot of questions actually. And before getting to those, I wanted to thank both Henrikh and Solveig for the presentation, for the insight that they gave into Sweden and into the life of an international student in Sweden. So I see that we have quite a few questions in the chat as well. So I'll start from those first, so we don't lose them along the way. So a student from Albania is asking if you offer any master for business and commercial law. And someone else asked about the bachelor degrees in law as well. So maybe we can take those questions first.
Yeah, those two managed to hit the sore spot because law is one of the few majors that we don't have in the university. Not business law and not law in bachelor degree either. So unfortunately not.
Thank you, Henrikh. And to stay on the topic, maybe I'm mistaken, but you don't offer medicine either, right?
We have one master in health science, which is a little bit like public health. So that is a master program that we offer. But except for that, we don't have anything for now. It's on its way. And we will soon have a School of Medicine as well. But there is a few more years until we will have the programs open and available for students to apply.
Thank you so much, Henrikh. So I would like to ask you, because I see like a lot of questions related to the cost of studies. So of course, we just mentioned that for European students and from students from the EEA, studying at Linnaeus and in Sweden in general is free, but maybe you can tell us more about the living costs for international students in Sweden.
Yeah, well, there is a recommendation from the migration board that states around 7,800 Swedish krona per month as the expected cost for everything. I don't know if that's correct. I think it's better to check with the student what they really pay for a living. So yeah.
Solveig, maybe you want to chime in on that?
I was just about to unmute myself. So yeah, I would say well, first of all, it depends what kind of housing you're gonna have. So if you're gonna share your apartment, if you're gonna have apartment on your own with your family, if you want to have a big apartment or a small apartment. So for example, in my case, I share my apartment with 3 other girls. And depending on the size of our rooms, we pay a different amount. So my room is having 15 square meters and I pay 3,000 kronas a month. So that's around 300 euros, depending on how the exchange rate is going. But I would say, yeah, around 300 euros. And then I don't live on campus itself. So I live in the city. So I have around 10 to 15 minutes by bike to get to campus. And then, grocery costs, of course, are now a little bit higher given the inflation. But I would say, yes, you can definitely get through with those 7,800. So that's also what I have roughly per month. So I would say that the numbers from the tax agency are correct and it will be fine. But of course, if you want to have a bigger apartment, I know that the apartments on campus cost around, are costing roughly the same. So yeah, you can definitely get along with 7,500, 8,000.
Thank you so much, Solveig. So in the meantime, we have gotten some more specific questions. So I saw a couple of participants stating they are international students studying in Europe. One was in France, I think, yes, and the other is from Kazakhstan, but they both study in Europe. They are asking if they have the possibility to access the tuition-free studies in Sweden.
The tuition-free studies is based on their passport, basically. So you have to have a European Union passport, and if not, it's very hard to be able to get the tuition free ways to study.
Thank you so much, Henrikh. So to go forward with the questions, a participant is asking if the IGCSE certificates in English as a second language, maths, chemistry, and physics are useful to enter Linnaeus. So if they are requested in the admission process, and if student residencies for freshmen or students need to be taken care of from the student side. So if one has to look for accommodation autonomously, or if Linnaeus provides accommodation. So I'll get to you again with the first part of the question, because that was specific. So the IGCSE certificates, so English as a second language, maths, chemistry, and physics, if they are required for the admission process.
No, it's not required. It's a plus if they have it. When we admit students, we look at the ranking, and if you have those kind of documents, it's always good, and it makes a plus to an application, but it's not necessary. When we look at the English level, we usually, most of the students upload IELTS or TOEFL. That is the most common one. For students studying in other European Union or in other European countries, if you have studied 60 credits in a European university and the teaching has been done in English, that's also enough to prove your English level. So there is a few different ways to show that, to show your English level. And there is no one that is really better than the other one. And to the
yes, and the
second
second
part
part was about the residence, so student accommodation. Which students need to sort that autonomously, or does Linnaeus provide on-campus accommodation, for example?
Most students have to sort that by themselves. The university offers some housing and dorms, but it's not enough. So for many students, they have to find it by themselves. During the pandemic now, it has been quite easy to find, but I would recommend, because we see a big storm of a lot of students coming in this autumn. So if you get accepted, try to be out early. And then our university is trying to help with where you can find accommodation and where you should look for it. So we're trying to provide the resources you need to find it by yourself. And we still have some housing that is available for international students coming in as well.
Thank you so much, Henrikh. So a couple of students within Europe, so one is from Spain and the other is from Ukraine, are asking about the admission process. So what would they need to be admitted to Linnaeus? And if you offer full scholarships, so including the cost of living.
They were from Spain, right?
Spain and Ukraine.
Spain and Ukraine. For those two, for the Spanish students, they don't have to pay tuition fee, and by that we don't have any scholarships for them as well. So they would still have to pay for their living expenses by themselves. And that is also the reason why, because today I think that most of the people here are in Europe. So when we talked about housing just now, if you're a European student, the chance of the university helping you is smaller. But if you are an international student from outside of Europe, you have to pay the tuition fee, but there's also a bigger chance that you will be provided by the university dorms. And then the second student was from Ukraine. And for Ukraine right now, we offer a scholarship during this special times. All the Ukrainian students are tuition fee exempted as well, so they don't have to pay tuition fee. But there is no specific scholarships covering the living expenses. I think there is some specific, during this unique period of time that the government has some special kind of support for Ukrainians coming to Sweden. But I'm not so sure about how it works, but they don't have to pay the tuition fee, at least.
Thank you so much, Henrikh. So to stay on that topic, Tamara from Serbia, she's asking if Serbian students are included as a part of the countries within the EEA.
Very good question. I'm not sure. I think I have to look it up in that case.
Okay, so we'll get back to Tamara later. So we have a very specific question from Marina. I assume she's from Italy. She says that she took a master's degree in languages and comparative literature. She was wondering if you offer any postgraduate courses or PhD in humanities, specifically in the literary field.
Yeah, we do. We have a master program in English language and literature, where you can choose 2 different tracks. So you can go for either more like linguistics track, or you can go for one literature track and study literature focus. And if she would like to go more for was it social science or humanities, I don't remember, but there's also a program called colonial and post-colonial studies, where you have more of a social science focus, then that could also be suitable for the student.
Thank you so much, Henrikh. So she's also asking if any of these courses are offered through distance learning.
No,
so online.
Those 2 is not offered online. Those 2 you have to be on campus, unfortunately.
Thank you very much. So I see more questions are coming in. So of course, just to clarify this once again, all students that are interested in studying in Sweden, because I see the question pops up a lot. If you are from the European Union, so if your country of residence is within the EU, you can access studying in Sweden for free. So I see questions about Albania, Spain, Kazakhstan. So if the country is within the EU, then of course you can study free of tuition fees. So to go forward with some more specific questions, participant is asking how can an international student go about finding a job in Sweden? So is that related with the university itself, or can they find jobs also outside of campus?
They're allowed to find jobs outside of campus as well, of course. We have a department in the university helping students with their career. So if you have any questions, you can go to the career center, and they can help you with things like looking at your CV, looking at your cover letter. So they have suggestions on where to find jobs, what jobs that are available at the moment. So we try to support and help, and except for that, we're also having the classes, as Solveig talked about. We try to get students a chance to meet the companies and do projects together with the companies.
Thank you so much, Henrikh. So a participant is asking if they are required to be within an Erasmus program to apply for Linnaeus.
No, they can apply by themselves as well. So yeah, we are part of Erasmus as well. So if they can apply for Erasmus, they can do that. And if not, they can apply by themselves. Just go to the website that I showed earlier, the universityadmissions.se, and there they can make the application by themselves.
Thank you so much, Henrikh. And I think we can take this question to Solveig. So a participant is asking if there are any sports facilities, libraries, canteens, study spaces, and what kinds of events does Linnaeus organize? So what does one do when they are not studying at Linnaeus?
Well, maybe I'm going to start there with the library part because that was still then related to the studying. So in Växjö, there's a really nice library just at the main city part. Actually, you can see it in the background from Henrikh on his, he's just sitting in front of the library there. So yeah, there you can go and go for studying. Then if you're more looking for the social parts, there are a lot of nations. So nations are kind of associations that are there for certain topics. So for example, one nation is more focused on music, and then another nation is more focused on sports. Then you have some that are known for their events. So for example, they go skiing or do other trips, and you kind of can then join those nations for joining their events. So you kind of have the things that your faculty would organize. And then you could also join the nation to kind of also meet people from other study programs. And sports-wise, in Växjö, there are two or three tennis courts. There's also now a padel arena. There's Olympian, so that's an indoor sports arena where there's also a gym in it. And again, some of the nations are organizing their weekly sports events there. And if you want to meet international students, you always have the chance of joining ESN. So there's a ESN location in Kalmar and one in Växjö. So those are actually split it up in that sense, even though that's one university. But they have a lot of events where that they also have together, so that you will go from Växjö to Kalmar or Kalmar to Växjö. And they also organize a lot of events for traveling and sports events and just get together so that you also meet other students, which is then more focused on the international students. So you do have a lot of options what you can do. And then also, as it was mentioned, a lot of like outdoor activities, because there is a lot of nature around. Even though that my background is now not from Sweden, it's actually from Indonesia, but there's a lot of things that you can do here also, that you can go for a walk or you can go for fika with friends. So you will definitely find a lot of things to do. So maybe, I hope that answered your question, but otherwise, if there's something more specific, then please ask.
Thank you so much, Solveig. So that was a very thorough answer, and I do hope that we inspired our participants to just learn more about Linnaeus and to maybe consider studying their undergraduate or their postgraduate program at Linnaeus. So a participant is asking about the required English level to apply to Linnaeus, and if they need IELTS or any other certifications to confirm their knowledge of the English language. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Most students that is applying use IELTS, and then we require 6.5 for almost all programs. There is a few exceptions, but 95% requires IELTS 6.5 and no part under 5.5. If it would be TOEFL instead, then it's the total score of 90. That is the requirement.
Thank you so much, Henrikh. So we do have a couple more questions. A participant is asking how much is the tuition fee for students outside the EU and the EEA?
Yeah, it depends on the major. For business, the tuition fees are around 100 to 110,000 Swedish krona per year. And for engineering, computer science, mathematics, this kind of majors, then the price tag is around 150,000 Swedish krona per year.
Thank you so much. So one last question from Javier. He's from Mexico originally, but he's living in Dublin. He's asking if he's eligible to study at Linnaeus.
Yeah, we don't really look at the country, we more look at the study background. So yeah, we accept students no matter which country they're coming from. But yeah, if you've been studying in Dublin, in Ireland, that probably means that your English level is good enough and you don't need to provide IELTS or TOEFL if you've studied at least 60 credits in Ireland. Except for that, it's yeah, it's hard to say when I don't know the major, but if you have a major that is the same as the master we have, yeah, we have a program that you can apply for.
Thank you so much, Henrikh. So before we close the event, I just wanted to remind all participants that they have the link in the chat to request their certificate of attendance by Docsity in case they wish to do so. I would just ask you, Henrikh, if you could maybe just give an overview of the application process. So how can students apply if they're interested? And specifically to the master programs. So does the application differ for each master, or is it the same for all master programs?
It is a quite straightforward process. Maybe I can change screen here and show you how the process is done.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, while we are waiting for Henrikh to grab the information, I just wanted to remind all participants that if they joined later, they will receive an email with the recording of the event. So if you missed any important information, if you just wanted to review Zolve's experience, you can do that later on. Of course, if you want to request the certificate by Docsity, you're free to do that. We always appreciate your feedback and answers, of course. And now back to you, Henrikh.
Yeah, so basically, let's say that you first go to universityadmissions.se and you will come to this website, and here you can choose the semester that you want to apply for, and then you write in the keyword. And as I said, this is for all Swedish universities. So if you would write in like Linnaeus University, then it will pop out, and you can find all the programs and courses that is available at the university that you still can apply for. You can choose up here if you want to go for like how you want to filter it, if you want programs or courses, if you want from a specific university, because here you can choose all the Swedish universities, so you can choose the one that you think is most suitable for you. Hopefully you think that Linnaeus University is the most suitable one after sitting and listening to us about how good it is. But yeah, there is a lot of other good choices as well in here. And when you find the course that you're interested in, I think that this nanostructure seems very good. Then you click select, my selection, start application, and then you will have to create an account basically. So you go to start, and then you log into your account, and after that it's a quite straightforward and easy process. It doesn't take long to make the application in full, and then you just upload the documents. For most countries, especially for European countries, all the documents that they might require, the English level, the previous studies and everything like that, you just upload the documents on this website to your account, and you will also get the admission result here on the website.
That sounds very easy. Thank you so much, Henrikh. And before wrapping this up, I just wanted to ask if you can maybe talk about the upcoming deadlines. So if participants wanted to apply for bachelor or master programs, when would they need to apply?
Yesterday, basically. It's not many programs that is still open for this autumn intake. We have a very, very few number of students that is available still, but it's not much. So if you want to apply for this autumn intake, check universityadmissions.se and see, because I think that we basically only have like chemistry, physics that isn't closed already.
Thank you so much, Henrikh. So I see there are still some questions, but unfortunately the time has run out. For any of you who still have questions for the International Admissions Office, you will get an email with the recording of this event and of course with the email that you can use to reach out to Linnaeus. And without further ado, once again, Henrikh and Solveig, thank you so much for being here with us tonight and for giving us some insight into student life in Sweden and at Linnaeus University. I want to thank all participants who stuck with us till the end for their presence here and just for taking the time to ask questions and hopefully get some insight and some help for making up their minds about where to study next. Hopefully that's Linnaeus and hopefully that's Sweden. Thank you once again so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Henrikh. Thank you, Solveig, and best of luck tomorrow and congratulations once again for your graduation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hope to see everyone for the next event with Linnaeus. In the meantime, stay safe and I wish everyone a nice evening. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.